and also with my friend and colleague Sean O'Connor, the Liberal candidate for Sydney. We're within the Sydney electorate here, just a little bit outside of my electorate of Wentworth. But I want to congratulate Michael for installing here a fibre-to-the-node system, a VDSL system, where he has taken a connection from the fibre running outside the street, used the latest technology to hook it into the copper network that was put into the building this development when it was built in the 90s, and is offering a 100 megabit per second service down, 40 megabit per second up. Now, we've just been in Paul Shepherd's apartment, and as you've seen there, he had some speed tests there. He didn't quite get to 100 on the download, no doubt due to the contention in the RSP's network that he's bought the service from. But so that's outside of Michael's bailiwick. But you can see a very significant improvement in download speeds and very high upload speeds. One of the criticisms the Labor Party make is that a fibre to the node is not able to deliver high uploads. Well, you had nearly 40 megs upload there on that product. May's made a very big difference to Paul's business, working from home, but above all, as Michael Sparksman's going to explain in a moment, what he's been able to do here is deliver very, very fast broadband quickly and cheaply in terms of the cost of construction, therefore affordably for customers, and at a huge cost differential to running fibre into all of these premises. So I might invite Michael to just say a little bit about the project and the relative costs between the service he's provided here and what he would have involved if he was going to take fibre into every apartment, which is what the NBN Co's current plan, of course, requires. So, Michael, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Malcolm. And I'd like to open by thanking Malcolm Turnbull for opening and launching our product in Sydney Park Village. It's a great honour to have you here.
Oh, you're very kind.
And particularly to explain to everyone in Australia the sort of services that you can expect from VDSL. This is a basic product, VDSL 2. If we had wanted to step it up to a VDSL vectored or bonded product, we could have provided a much faster service. But the demand in this residential complex of over 850 units is primarily for 100 meg services. So what we've provided here is a service that actually meets the market. The costs associated with providing this product is $200, being labour and materials, about 50-50. If we were providing a vectored or bonded service, that cost would have risen to approximately $400 to $500 per service. If we were going to fibre to the node, and we did the costings associated with fibre to the premises, Malcolm, and we did some costings associated with this project, the cost per unit would have gone in excess of $5,000 per unit. So to meet the market of providing a service quickly and efficiently, VDSL 2 is the obvious way to go with fibre to the node. The node is just over here under this building. We've put another extension under that building to ensure that all buildings and apartments here have a 100 meg service. The VDSL networks that we're rolling out to about 60 premises around Sydney and in our initial rollout will be very similar to this. The time frame for delivery of those services is very quick because we don't disturb any of the existing infrastructure. We use all of the copper. There is no change at all other than we put a new plate inside the premises to indicate the Ethernet port. And apart from that, there is no observable change to the apartment or the structure, which meant that the managers and owners of this complex have not had to put up with any delay or construction turmoil, which we would have had to do at great expense and over a long period of time if we were going to do fibre to the apartment. So this is the significant difference between the sort of plan that the member for Wentworth has announced and that we have followed, as opposed to NBN Co, which intends to fibre all apartments to right around Australia, which is over 4.5 million apartments. So you can imagine the time and the costs that are going to be associated with doing that.
So, Michael, you costed this. I mean, this is such a big difference. You've costed this, and you know it cost you $200 per apartment to provision this service. If you had gone to vectored VDSL, which is the the model that we've proposed in our policy, it would have been more like $400 or $500.
Yes.
But to take fibre would have been $5,000, and you costed that.
Yes, we did.
And you build networks for a living, so when you cost something, you know what you're talking about.
We've been building them for many years, well before the NBN, Malcolm.
Right, I know that. Okay, well that's very interesting. So Sean, this is in your electorate. What's your impression of this development here?
I just think it's a great example of business investing in the policies which, and the technology which we've been talking about for so long, and as a result of that we have 800 residences here in the electorate of Sydney that now have access to very, very fast broadband, much cheaper and more faster than we would have been waiting if we were following Labor's NBN process. Apartments like Paul's, he could have been waiting for who knows how long. If he was to wait for NBN, it could be up to 5 years, could be 10 years, who knows.
Great.
So, but instead he's got access to it today, which allows him to compete internationally with his other colleagues around the world at a much, much cheaper product.
Yeah, and this is really the issue. I'll just get back in the middle here, but so we'll have some questions now. But this is really the issue that you've got what is a 25 times difference between the cost of what you've done and what fibre to the apartment would have cost. So. And a huge amount of time. So if you believe that broadband is important, and we do, and if you believe very fast broadband is important to take advantage of all the opportunities of the digital economy, as Paul's described in his business, you've got to get people's services upgraded quickly. And it's got to be done at a price they can afford to pay. And this is a good practical example of that in action. So, congratulations to Open Networks, and perhaps we might have, do we have any questions?
This complex is about 15 years old, so the copper is quite modern, Paul is quite close to the node. How representative is this going to be for the public?
Well, let's just, Paul, do we know how far the copper run from the node to Paul's apartment is?
Yes, in fact he's over 500 metres away from the initial node. So to give you an idea, he's a long way from the node. But importantly also,
The initial node?
the initial node,
What about
and we've put in a further node down here under one of the other buildings, so he would be maybe 100 metres away from that. Yes. But importantly, the other thing to bear in mind is that this entire project was done in under 3 weeks, including all the works in the street and in the apartment. So the installation, all of the work's done and dusted in 3 weeks. So now it's simply a matter of connection on demand.
How representative of this is this for the public?
Well, it's interesting. More recently constructed apartment buildings would be likely to have better copper in them than this. They'd have Category 5 or Category 6 for their telecoms. This is Category 3, as I understand. But you're right, the copper varies from place to place, but this is not. This is similar copper to what you would find in a suburban layout.
One of the protections that Labor built into the NBN was preventing certain organisations like Open Networks from building networks to compete with NBN Co to undermine its business model. Would you let companies like Open Network continue to do this work?
Yeah, we think the object of policy is to ensure that everybody gets very fast broadband as soon as possible, and our approach is to not oppose. We're not going to prevent competition with the NBN. We think that is something that certainly shouldn't be obstructed, as long as the competitors are common carriers and are providing a wholesale service. That is important. As far as greenfield developments, which is where companies like Michael's have been historically most active, our approach is that there should be no obstacle to them installing a wholesale service there. Should be their perfect right to do so. And we'll also have, as you've seen in our policy, an arrangement where if the developer pays Michael's company or one of his competitors to put in a network there, a broadband network, and as long as it complies with the NBN specifications, then the NBN Co would acquire it. There would be a tariff in effect. And what that really means is that a developer then knows that he or she can get the fibre deployment company they know and trust and work with to get the work done, so that it could either be operated as a network run by the developer or by a company like Open Networks, or it could be just sold over to the NBN co.
If the coalition does win government in towns where the rollout's begun, is it correct that the coalition will only honour fibre to the home contracts where they've been signed, and in other areas they'll get the coalition's plan? For instance, towns like Ballarat's, suburbs to the west and the south will have the coalition NBN, whereas the central and north Ballarat areas will have Labor's.
Well, what we've said is we'll honour all contracts. I mean, so if there hasn't been any agreement or any signature, then there isn't a contract. So we'll honour existing contracts. The critical thing is to get the NBN built, get it built sooner and of course at less cost. But the way it's going at the moment, it will take decades to complete. You see, to cut to the chase, will it be a hybrid network? Yes. The NBN, as envisaged by Labor, is a hybrid network. Under their vision, you'll have most people with fibre to the premises and then others with wireless and satellite. All we are proposing is that you add an additional technology, that is to say vectored VDSL, fibre to the node, along the lines of what we have here. And so there'll be some places where there'll be fibre connected to the premise, some with fibre to the node. But the point is that everyone will be able to get a service that is of more than sufficient speed to enable them to use all of the applications and services they value. And that's the critical point.
So you would reject claims from Labor then that we're going to end up with a hybrid system that's problematic and could ultimately affect property prices?
Well, we have a hybrid system now. That's why it's called the internet. It's a network of networks. So nothing's going to change there. As far as property values are concerned, look, there are huge differences between broadband speeds availability at the moment in Australia. I mean, there's 2 million premises that don't have any broadband at all. Under our policy, by 2016, everybody will have access to very fast broadband, and nobody will have access to less than 25 megs. Now, most people will, in the fixed line footprint, will have much higher speeds, of course. So, in fact, the disparity between broadband speeds availability will be much less under our approach than it is at present, and there's no sign at present that broadband availability has made any discernible impact on property prices. So, look, I think Anthony Albanese is just getting a bit desperate. He's trying to sort of run a property price scare on Tuesday. I would say by Friday, you can mark your cards for this. By Friday, he'll be saying that the coalition's NBN, if implemented, will make your teeth fall out and your hair turn white, and other dreadful physical manifestations to appear.
So just to be clear, then you reject the idea that we could end up with towns like Shepparton and Ballarat that are in a sense digitally developed?
Well, you could very easily, you will end up with some areas which have different forms of technology delivering them their broadband, as you do today. And even under Labor's scheme, you will have, if you are in the fixed line footprint, you'll have fibre to the premises. If you're not, you'll have fixed wireless, very different technologies. But the critical thing, and really the only thing that is important, is can I get the applications and the services I value? Do I have a technology that is reliable and that delivers me that at an affordable price? And can I get it soon? You see, if you buy the proposition, and I do passionately, that there are enormous benefits from having universal access to very fast broadband, then the sooner we have it, the better. Labor, as I've always said, and I'm sure Michael would agree, if time was irrelevant and money was irrelevant, so you didn't care whether something cost you $200 a premises or $5,000, then you would put fibre everywhere. But I mean, in the real world, time and money are vitally critical, and that's the advantage of our approach. And what Open Networks have done here is provide proof. 3 weeks' work, and everybody in this development has got access to up to a 100 meg service. And, as Michael says, with some additional work, additional investment, not a huge amount of additional investment, that could be 200-300 megabits per second. But as he's technically skilled, he's also numerate, and he knows no one will pay him for that, so he's not proposing to invest money that he can't get a return on.
You said before, Malcolm, we have reported anyway, that it would take about 12 months to turn the ship around to fibre to the node from fibre to the premises. Is that still your timetable? And there's been people asking us, given the different priorities in the way it'll be rolled out, is there going to be any kind of timetable that you'd publish to give the public some idea of when they will get a rollout?
Yeah, well, we certainly will do that. We can't do that from opposition, but we are going to operate the NBN Co in a totally transparent way. There'll be an end to all the spin, an end to all the bodgy statistics. We'll have a very thorough review of the business, so we'll all know within 60 days, our goal, what the current rollout, current specifications, currently specified project will cost in dollars and years to complete, and what savings in time and dollars we can achieve by making certain changes along the lines, the ones we've canvassed and others. So yeah, we'll be for transparency will be the new watchword of the NBN Co. At the moment, it's got as you know, a public information policy that would put the Kremlin to shame.
Would it be less than a year, do you think?
We're hoping to get some demonstrations of this type underway much sooner than that, but we've been very careful in our policy, and we haven't proposed anything that we're not very confident of delivering.
Just one more question. Just a question from Michael. So,
yep, Michael, do you want to...
In terms of what if a resident wanted to upgrade to fibre to the premises, how much would you opening up the network to, and how does your wholesale price compare to NBN Co's current wholesale price?
Okay, just in reverse order. Yep. Our NBN prices that NBN Co are currently offering are replicated by our ISPs. Our wholesale price is actually under the NBN Co wholesale price, so the ISPs can either pass that saving on, or they can alternatively, keep it and make a profit. But our wholesale prices are across the board slightly cheaper than NBN Co's wholesale price. In terms of the cost of connections to upgrade, as I said earlier, the price to upgrade from a VDSL standard product, which is currently delivering 100 by 40 at $200 a connection, to a VDSL 2 vectored service might be in the order of $500 per connection. So it's a cost that needs to meet a market. If there was a demand in here, we'd swap out the DSLAM that's currently available for that particular building and install the better performing DSLAM that provides VDSL on a vectored or bonded basis. To go to a fibre to the home solution, in this complex we costed just over $5,000. We stopped counting at per apartment. So if we were to provide, as Labor have provided, a fibre to the home solution, a buyer could order it, we could upgrade it, but it would cost considerable amount of money to do so. We'd have to put a VDSL OLT in the basement or to replace the DSLAM, a new ONU on the wall, and we'd be fibring through the car park, up through the risers, down the corridors. We'd be doing repairs and maintenance, obviously, to all of the wall surfaces and ceilings. It's quite a costly basis to retrofit fibre into old buildings. So, if you're looking at $5,000 and somebody wants to pay for that in an apartment building, yes, we'd be open to it. But at this point in time, there is no demand for that service in this residential complex.
How many ISPs as well?
Sorry, beg your pardon. At the moment, we're open to all ISPs. We're a fully open access provider. We've got 12 ISPs that are currently signed standard forms of access agreement with us. We will bring on more. We're currently in negotiations with Optus Wholesale. They have 32 aggregated ISPs. We are a fully open access wholesale only provider. We offer no retail services of our own, so we don't compete with our ISPs, and we provide it, as I say, on an open access basis in compliance with the legislation. There are some operations in Sydney and right throughout Australia that offer different solutions in the past, but since 2007, when we gained our licence, we've been wholesale only open access.
Okay, thanks guys.